I keep asking you if I have time. Do I have time to tell the Zelensky story?
Sure.
Because it's another one. It's just, what is Zelensky? In America, he's a hero. He's a real warrior. He's got that nice green, warrior suit on. And here's the truth. And people know parts of this story, but they don't know it in its cleanest narrative. So he was a totally apolitical. He was an outsider to politics, zero experience or interest in government or politics. He was a comedian and with no manifesto, no party ties. And he does a TV show, a planned TV show called Servant of the People. And the main character in the show does a YouTube video that calls out oligarchs and corruption and eventually becomes popular and is drafted as a protest candidate and eventually becomes president. So Zelensky played on a TV show a person who becomes president by popular demand. In real life, the TV show is supported by an oligarch named Kolomoisky, who owned the TV channel. And Kolomoisky did a huge nonstop promo on that TV show to make it the #1 show. Primetime slots and ads everywhere and crossovers with the news and what have you. 2018, a year before the show goes off the air, Zelensky forms a political party called Servant of the People, the same title as the show. And in no press release, secretly done, and then he does another season of the show. And in April of 2019, he announces his actual candidacy on Instagram. He has no campaign, no rallies, no real platform. He skips the presidential debates. Others attended. He avoids press conferences, and the few that he did were in the beginning were really bad. And Kolomoisky's TV channel gave Zelensky's campaign endless airtime and favorable polls and went after his enemies. The U.S. intelligence agencies, CIA and NSA, helped, U.S. spending $5 billion, by the way, on democracy campaigns in Ukraine, funneled through NGOs. And USAID embeds advisors in his organization to help with the campaign. I'm almost done. And on Election Day, Zelensky wins with 73% of the vote. And then the war happens with Russia, and he declares martial law, and he ends elections. There's supposed to be an election in 2024. That's what we get for our democracy money. And quite literally, he is an actor in a carefully designed television show. He is a construct, like Epstein is a construct, meaning he's a created entity. And it worked. That is Zelensky, the American hero. I guess his star is maybe fading a little bit now. I don't know. What do you think? Is he still wildly popular in America?
Well, I think people are very disappointed by the fact that the wars continue to go on and the deaths, the amount of deaths. I mean, people are horrified by it. And that's a big failure of the promises of the Trump administration too, because Trump famously said that he would get it done in 24 hours. But you can't get it done at all.
Yeah, it's tough.
And they're conscripting 60-year-old men and sending them to the front line. I mean, it's
and Americans and people from all over the world to go and fight. And but the narrative, I think, your very first question was, do people do this on purpose? Things like this, like wars that are multi-billion-dollar events, they are not organic. They do not just happen. Putin does not just decide one day, hey, I got an idea, and to go into a part of Ukraine where they're Russian speakers, they're culturally Russian, and they are not organic events. It's not how people get into power in many countries around the world.
Well, the crazy thing is the narrative that the soldiers in Russia were being told, that this was going to be over very quickly, they're going to be welcomed, and then, they had dress uniforms in their packs.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be a couple of days. Storm in, storm out. You're a hero.
Yeah. We were told that in Iraq, that we will be welcomed in Iraq as soon as we get to Baghdad.
So what do you think the Ukraine thing is really all about?
Well, why limit it to Ukraine? Just talk about human war. I mean, what is human war always about? It's about primacy and control and wealth. And 1,000 years ago, there's about 1,000 what you would call government systems, right? There's warlords and there's shoguns in Japan and there's all these little entities. In our lifetime, it's down to 190. But is it really 190? It's more like 5, right? NATO, and China and the Soviet bloc when it existed and the oil-producing countries. In other words, it's getting to be whatever number you want to make it, but eventually it'll be two fuckers sitting in a room, and then they got to kill each other.
Right.
And then, that is the decay of empire. And we have 760 military bases overseas.